Welcome to Echo Shade, where history whispers its darkest secrets and forgotten stories.
The story of European royalty is a tapestry of interwoven families, dynastic marriages, and alliances that have shaped the continent for centuries. Among these lineages, one of the most fascinating connections lies between Princess Alice of the United Kingdom, the second daughter of Queen Victoria, and her grandson-in-law, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. To understand this kinship, we must trace the roots of Princess Alice, explore her life and her descendants, and see how they connect to one of the most prominent figures of modern British royalty. Early life of Princess Alice Maud. Mary was born on April 25, 1843, at Buckingham Palace, the second daughter and third child of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Alice's childhood was deeply influenced by her parents' philosophy of education and morality. Queen Victoria, known for her strong sense of duty, and Prince Albert, a man of profound intellect and moral discipline, instilled in their children a sense of responsibility toward their subjects. Unlike some of her elder siblings, Alice displayed a remarkable combination of intellect, empathy, and compassion from an early age. She was known for her reflective nature, a serious demeanor, and an intense interest in charitable work, a trait she inherited from her mother and father. Queen Victoria herself once wrote in her journal that Alice had a kind, tender heart and a thoughtful mind, a description that would come to define her throughout her life. Marriage and life in Hesse. At the age of 19, Princess Alice married Louis IV, Grand Duke of Hesse, and by Rhine on July 1, 1862. Their union was arranged in the typical fashion of European royalty, designed to solidify political alliances and strengthen ties between nations. Despite the political motivations, the marriage proved to be genuinely affectionate. Louis was reportedly deeply in love with Alice, and their relationship was characterized by mutual respect and devotion. Upon moving to Darmstadt, the capital of Hesse, Princess Alice embraced her role as Grand Duchess, dedicating herself to both her family and her charitable obligations. She worked extensively with hospitals, nursing, and relief efforts for the poor, earning the admiration of her subjects. The outbreak of epidemics, particularly the 1870-1871 cholera outbreak, showcased her bravery and commitment. She tended to the sick with tireless dedication, often putting her own health at risk. The children of Princess Alice and Grand Duke Louis IV had 7 children, each of whom played a significant role in European history. Their descendants would spread across the continent, intertwining with other royal houses, including that of Greece and Denmark. The children were Victoria of Hesse and by Rhine, 1863-1950, married Prince Louis of Battenberg and became the mother of Princess Alice of Battenberg, who would later marry Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark, eventually giving birth to Prince Philip. Elizabeth of Hesse and by Rhine, 1864-1918, married Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich of Russia, tragically murdered during the Russian Revolution. Irene of Hesse and by Rhine, 1866-1953, married Prince Henry of Prussia. Ernest Louis, Grand Duke of Hesse, 1868-1937, married Princess Victoria Melita of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Friedrich of Hesse, and by Rhine, 1870-1873, died young of hemophilia. Alex of Hesse, 1872-1918, married Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, becoming Empress Alexandra Feodorovna, and was famously executed with her family in 1918. Marie of Hesse, and by Rhine, 1874-1878, died young. It is through her eldest daughter, Victoria of Hesse, that Princess Alice's lineage would eventually connect to Prince Philip. The legacy of Victoria of Hesse often called Vicky, was an intelligent and politically aware woman, heavily influenced by her mother's humanitarian work. In 1884, she married Prince Louis of Battenberg, a naval officer with strong ties to both the German and British royal families. Their marriage produced 4 children, including Alice of Battenberg, 1885-1969, the future mother of Prince Philip, known for her devout religious life and humanitarian efforts. Louis Mountbatten, 1900-1979, later the first Earl Mountbatten of Burma. George of Battenberg, 1892-1938, died in obscurity, but married and had children. Louise of Battenberg, 1889-1965, married King Gustav VI Adolf of Sweden. Through Alice of Battenberg, Princess Alice's lineage reached Greece and subsequently the United Kingdom. Alice of Battenberg and Prince Philip Alice of Battenberg was born in 1885 at Windsor Castle, a testament to the continuing close connection between the German and British royal families. Growing up, she was immersed in royal duties, but was also a deeply spiritual and charitable woman. She married Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark in 1903, a union that produced 5 children, including Prince Philip, born in 1921 on the Greek island of Corfu. Inte Philip, later the Duke of Edinburgh and consort to Queen Elizabeth II, carried within him the legacy of Princess Alice. This connection made Princess Alice his great-grandmother, a tie that linked the British royal family with a lineage marked by compassion, tragedy, and resilience. To truly understand the significance of Princess Alice's lineage, one must grasp the political and dynastic context of 19th century Europe. During this era, royal marriages were far more than personal unions. They were tools of diplomacy, instruments of power, and mechanisms to secure alliances between nations. Princess Alice's marriage into the House of Hesse exemplified this reality. The Grand Duchy of Hesse, and by Rhine the Grand Duchy of Hesse, located in western Germany along the Rhine River, was a modest but strategically significant state. Though not as powerful as Prussia or Austria, Hesse held importance because of its geographic location, wealth, and connections through marriage. At the time, the region was part of the loosely organized German Confederation, a coalition of German-speaking states established after the Congress of Vienna, 1815. Louis IV, Grand Duke of Hesse, came from a long line of German nobility. His family, though smaller in scale compared to larger empires, had cultivated strong ties with other royal houses in Europe. By marrying Princess Alice, the Grand Duchy strengthened its connection to Britain, a dominant global power. Such alliances were not merely ceremonial. They could influence diplomacy, military strategy, and trade. Queen Victoria's vision of royal marriages, Queen Victoria, Princess Alice's mother, played a central role in shaping the landscape of European royalty. Known as the grandmother of Europe, Victoria married her children into various European dynasties, from Russia to Germany to Denmark. The underlying goal was to create a network of familial ties that would, in theory, promote peace and cooperation among the monarchies. Princess Alice, as Victoria's second daughter, was viewed as both a bridge and a bond. Her marriage could solidify Hesse's relationship with Britain, while producing heirs who would further interlink the continent's ruling families. Victoria was deeply involved in selecting suitable spouses for her children, often prioritizing political compatibility alongside personal character. Life in Darmstadt. The Hesse court. When Alice arrived in Darmstadt as Grand Duchess, she encountered a court that was both traditional and modernizing. Hesse was undergoing social and economic transformations. Industrialization was beginning, education reforms were underway, and charitable institutions were growing in importance. Alice adapted quickly. bringing with her the influence of British courtly education, as well as the humanitarian ethos instilled by Prince Albert. Her marriage to Louis IV was marked by mutual affection, which was somewhat unusual for royal unions of the time, which were often arranged purely for political convenience. Louis admired Alice's intelligence, compassion, and steadfastness, and she found in him a partner willing to support her charitable pursuits. Together, they navigated the pressures of monarchy, public appearances, political expectations, and the responsibility of raising a family under the constant scrutiny of royal and public eyes. Princess Alice's children and the spread of influence. The children of Princess Alice were not merely heirs to titles, they were agents of dynastic strategy. Each child's marriage extended the influence of the Hesse family and strengthened political networks across Europe. Victoria of Hesse, Vicky, her marriage to Prince Louis of Battenberg connected the Hesse family to both British and German nobility, setting the stage for the birth of Alice of Battenberg, mother of Prince Philip. Elizabeth of Hesse, her union with Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich of Russia, intertwined Hesse with the Romanovs, placing her directly in the turbulent currents of Russian politics. Irene of Hesse married Prince Henry of Prussia, further binding the German principalities. Ernest Louis continued the male line in Hesse, ensuring dynastic continuity. Alex of Hesse, Alexandra Feodorovna, her marriage to Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, although tragic, illustrates the international reach of Princess Alice's descendants. Through these marriages, Princess Alice's bloodline radiated outward, connecting Britain, Germany, Greece, Denmark, and Russia. Each connection had far-reaching consequences, not only politically but also personally, as future generations inherited both privilege and the burdens of royal expectation. The birth of Alice of Battenberg. The story of Princess Alice's kinship reaches its most direct link to Prince Philip with the birth of her granddaughter, Alice of Battenberg, in 1885. Alice of Battenberg's father, Louis of Battenberg, was the son of Victoria of Hesse and by Rhine. His marriage to Princess Victoria and their children represented the culmination of a century of dynastic planning, aligning British, German, and Greek bloodlines. Alice of Battenberg herself became a figure of historical intrigue. Born into privilege, she was deeply religious and unusually independent-minded for a royal woman of her time. Her upbringing at the crossroads of German and British aristocracy prepared her for a life that would bridge multiple royal houses, including Greece, Denmark, and eventually the United Kingdom. European royal connections in context. To understand the significance of Princess Alice's lineage, it is essential to view it within the broader European context. Germany. The House of Hesse was a minor but strategically positioned player. Its members intermarried with Prussia, Britain, and Russia, creating influence far beyond its borders. Britain. Queen Victoria's descendants served as links to multiple European states, reinforcing Britain's diplomatic position without resorting to military conquest. Greece. Later, through Alice of Battenberg, Princess Alice's descendants became entwined with the Greek royal family, which was itself connected to Denmark's monarchy. Russia. Princess Alice's daughters married into the Romanovs, reflecting both the reach of Hesse and the perils of interlinked dynasties during political upheaval. The network of marriages and alliances demonstrates how interconnected European royalty became, with Princess Alice serving as a central node in this vast web. These connections would not only shape political relationships, but also determine the lives of future monarchs, including Prince Philip. Princess Alice of the United Kingdom was not merely a royal figure in her own right. Her true historical legacy was woven through the lives of her children and grandchildren. Each of her descendants carried a combination of intelligence, compassion, ambition, and often tragic fate, a reflection of the precarious balance of privilege and responsibility inherent in royal life. In this section, we explore her descendants in detail, focusing on the familial, political, and cultural contexts that ultimately connect her to Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, Shiso, Victoria of Hesse and by Rhine. The eldest daughter, Princess Alice's eldest daughter, Victoria of Hesse and by Rhine, often referred to as Vicky, was born in 1863 in Darmstadt. From her earliest years, Vicky displayed the characteristic intelligence and earnestness of her mother. Unlike some of her siblings, who leaned more toward the aesthetic or social, Vicky had a pronounced sense of duty, shaped not only by Princess Alice's own example, but also by the shadow of Queen Victoria, her formidable grandmother. Marriage to Prince Louis of Battenberg in 1884, Vicky married Prince Louis of Battenberg, a naval officer with German origins but strong ties to the British monarchy. Their union was emblematic of Princess Alice's strategy of intertwining royal families across Europe, a tactic meant to strengthen political alliances and ensure mutual protection among monarchies. Louis, a man of keen intellect and deep personal integrity, was reportedly devoted to Vicky, and their marriage was one of genuine affection, a notable exception in a world dominated by strategic alliances. Children of Victoria of Hesse, the couple had 4 children, each of whom played an essential role in European royal history. Alice of Battenberg, 1885-1969, the future mother of Prince Philip. Alice of Battenberg was renowned for her deep spirituality and humanitarian work. Her life, spanning tumultuous wars and political upheavals, would become a central link between Princess Alice and the modern British monarchy. Louise of Battenberg, 1889-1965, married King Gustav Sisits Adolf Sweden, ensuring the Hesse-Battenberg lineage influenced Scandinavian royalty. George of Battenberg, 1892-1938, lived relatively quietly, though his lineage contributed to European nobility. Louis Mountbatten, 1900-1979, later known as First Earl Mountbatten of Burma, he became a prominent naval officer and statesman. Mountbatten's life intertwined with major historical events, including India's independence and World War II, showcasing the continued political significance of Princess Alice's descendants. Alice of Battenberg, the bridge to Prince Philip among Vicky's children. Alice of Battenberg stands as the most historically significant in the context of British royalty. Born at Windsor Castle in 1885, Alice was nurtured in the dual environments of German discipline and British sensibility. Her upbringing emphasized charity, responsibility, and devotion, values inherited from her grandmother, Princess Alice, and her great-grandmother, Queen Victoria. Childhood and education. Alice's early years were marked by both privilege and preparation for public service. She received an education uncommon even among royalty, excelling in languages, music, and philosophy, while also developing a profound sense of social responsibility. Her grandmother, Princess Alice's example loomed large in her life. Alice of Battenberg would often emulate her ancestors' compassion, particularly in nursing and humanitarian work. Marriage to Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark in 1903. Alice married Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark, a member of the Greek royal family, which had Danish roots. This marriage marked the continuation of Princess Alice's strategy of interlinking European royalty. Alice and Andrew's union produced 5 children, the youngest of whom would become central to the British monarchy. Princess Margarita of Greece and Denmark, 1981, Princess Theodora of Greece and Denmark, 1906-1969, Princess Cecily of Greece and Denmark, 1911-1937, Princess Sophie of Greece, Heaven, Princess Sophie of Greece, Sophie of Greece, and Denmark, 1914-2001. Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark, 1921-2021. Later Duke of Edinburgh, consort to Queen Elizabeth II. Challenges and resilience. Alice's life in Greece was far from serene. Political instability, including military coups and exile, forced her family to navigate constant uncertainty. Yet her moral fortitude, inherited from Princess Alice, allowed her to remain steadfast in her principles. She devoted herself to religious life and humanitarian work, particularly during World War II, when she secretly sheltered Jews in Athens. This courage and compassion mirrored that of Princess Alice, whose own efforts during epidemics in Darmstadt had earned admiration. The other descendants. Intertwined dynasties. While Alice of Battenberg directly connects Princess Alice to Prince Philip, the other descendants also highlight the breadth of Alice's familial influence. Louise of Battenberg became Queen of Sweden through marriage, influencing Scandinavian royalty. Louis Mountbatten played pivotal roles in British history, including naval leadership and political mediation in India and Europe. George of Battenberg, though less publicly known, maintained alliances through marriage and noble connections. These descendants ensured that Princess Alice's lineage was geographically dispersed, yet politically significant, shaping multiple royal houses and establishing a network that would endure well into the 20th century. Historical significance of the kinship. The connection between Princess Alice and Prince Philip illustrates several key aspects of European royalty. Dynastic strategy. The marriages of Alice's descendants exemplified the intentional creation of alliances across borders. These alliances were political tools, ensuring influence, security, and mutual support. Continuity of values, compassion, duty, and public service were hallmarks of Princess Alice's lineage. From nursing during epidemics to humanitarian work in wartime, her descendants carried these values into their respective roles. Resilience amid turmoil. Alice's descendants often faced political instability, exile, and personal tragedy. Their survival and adaptation underscore the interplay between personal strength and dynastic responsibility. Bridging monarchy across Europe, Princess Alice's lineage connected Britain, Germany, Greece, Denmark, Sweden, and Russia, demonstrating the interconnectedness of royal families and the broader European political landscape. The birth of Prince Philip. Culmination of a royal lineage. The final link in this chain is Prince Philip, born in 1921 on the island of Corfu. His birth represents the culmination of decades of dynastic planning, humanitarian ideals, and intermarriage among Europe's royal houses. As the son of Alice of Battenberg and Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark, Philip inherited not only the bloodline of Princess Alice, but also her intellectual curiosity, resilience, and commitment to service. Prince Philip's eventual marriage to Queen Elizabeth II further solidified the historical significance of this lineage. Through him, the values, traditions, and legacies of Princess Alice permeated the modern British monarchy, linking Victorian ideals of duty with contemporary royal life. The story of Princess Alice's lineage reaches its most visible expression in her great-grandson, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Born into a tumultuous period in European history, Philip's life was marked by exile, upheaval, and adaptation. Yet, beneath the surface of a prince born into multiple royal lines, there ran a current of resilience, service, and duty, values inherited from Princess Alice, transmitted through her granddaughter, Alice of Battenberg. Understanding Prince Philip requires tracing not only his personal journey, but also the historical and familial forces that shaped him. Birth and early years in Greece. Prince Philip was born on 10 June 1921 at the Mokrypos villa on the Greek island of Corfu, the fifth and youngest child of Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark and Alice of Battenberg. His birth was already complicated by the political turbulence of the time. Greece was recovering from military defeat in the Greco-Turkish War, 1919-22, and the country was teetering on the edge of revolution and civil unrest. Philip's early environment was one of both privilege and instability. The family was royal by blood, but politically vulnerable. Exile loomed large even before his birth. Within months, the monarchy in Greece would be overthrown and the family forced to flee. Unlike many of his royal contemporaries who grew up insulated within secure palaces, Philip's formative years were marked by uncertainty, movement, and adaptation, echoing the resilient scene in Princess Alice herself. Early family influence, Philip's mother, Alice of Battenberg, ensured that her children remained grounded despite their royal lineage. She instilled in Philip and his siblings a sense of duty, moral responsibility, and intellectual curiosity. These were the very traits she had inherited from Princess Alice, her grandmother. Alice of Battenberg was deeply religious, charitable, and remarkably independent-minded. Even in exile, she maintained a structured household emphasizing education, discipline, and service. Prince Philip's father, Prince Andrew, was less emotionally present due to his naval career and political frustrations, leaving Alice of Battenberg to shape Philip's moral and emotional development. It is here that the connection to Princess Alice becomes tangible. The same qualities that Alice had shown in Hesse, compassion, duty to others, and personal courage, were consciously passed down through her daughter and on to Philip. Exile and education across Europe. The Greek royal family's exile forced young Philip into a peripatetic early life. Between the ages of 1 and 12, he lived in France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, experiencing multiple cultures, languages, and social environments. This constant movement cultivated adaptability, resilience, and worldly awareness, qualities that would define his later public service. France. The family initially sought refuge in France, living in modest accommodations compared to royal standards. Philip learned the values of self-reliance and practicality here. Germany. Philip attended schools in Germany, including the prestigious Schloss Salem, founded by Kurt Hahn, a progressive educator. The curriculum emphasized physical fitness, leadership, moral integrity, and service, a modern reflection of Princess Alice's dedication to duty and public service. United Kingdom. Philip's mother's British connections provided him occasional ties to his maternal lineage, though he formally became a Greek and Danish prince. British relatives, including his mother's cousins, maintained correspondence and guidance, subtly shaping Philip's understanding of duty, monarchy, and service. Character formation and the legacy of Princess Alice, several key traits in Prince Philip, can be traced to the legacy of Princess Alice. Duty and service. Just as Princess Alice dedicated herself to the sick and poor in Darmstadt, Philip internalized a sense of responsibility toward others. This manifested in his later naval service during World War II and decades of dedication to the British monarchy. Courage and resilience. The early instability Philip experienced mirrored the courage Princess Alice had demonstrated during epidemics and personal tragedies. He learned to adapt, endure adversity, and maintain composure under pressure. Moral and ethical grounding. Through his mother's religious and charitable teachings, Philip inherited the moral compass first exemplified by Princess Alice. This guided his decisions, public service, and philanthropic endeavors throughout his life. Cross-cultural awareness. The cosmopolitan upbringing stemming from Princess Alice's European connections enabled Philip to navigate complex social and political environments with tact and confidence. Prince Philip's naval career. A reflection of lineage, Philip's decision to join the Royal Navy was influenced not only by circumstance but by a family tradition of service and duty. His grandfather, Prince Louis of Battenberg, had been a high-ranking naval officer, and his great-grandmother, Princess Alice, had demonstrated the importance of serving others, whether in nursing, charity, or leadership. The Navy provided Philip with a structured environment where he could apply the resilience, discipline, and leadership qualities inherited from his lineage. World War II. Philip distinguished himself through bravery, strategic thinking, and leadership. His actions reflected the same courage and dedication to duty that Princess Alice had exhibited during crises in Hesse. Leadership and innovation. Philip often pushed for modernization and efficiency within the Navy, echoing the forward-thinking tendencies of his ancestors who navigated political, social, and technological change. Connection to British monarchy. Philip's eventual marriage to Princess Elizabeth, later Queen Elizabeth II, in 1947 was not merely a personal union. It symbolized the continuation of Princess Alice's dynastic vision. Through him, the values, bloodlines, and connections of Princess Alice extended directly into the modern British monarchy. Dynastic continuity. Philip brought a mixture of British, German, and Greek royal blood into the House of Windsor, fulfilling the interwoven kinship strategy of Princess Alice's lineage. Modernization and duty. His practical, often reform-minded approach to royal duties mirrored the humanitarian and disciplined ethos of Princess Alice. Family and legacy. Philip's children, grandchildren, and the broader royal family continue to embody the interconnections and values established by Princess Alice and her descendants. Princess Alice's enduring influence, even after more than a century, the imprint of Princess Alice on modern royalty is undeniable. Through Alice of Battenberg and Prince Philip, her moral compass, commitment to service, and capacity for resilience continue to shape the British monarchy. Philip's public service, charitable endeavors, and principled approach to duty reflect a direct line of influence from Princess Alice, connecting the values of Victorian Britain and Hesse's humanitarian ideals to the contemporary royal context. Princess Alice's legacy is not limited to her direct line through Alice of Battenberg and Prince Philip. Her other children and grandchildren married into some of the most influential royal families of Europe, forging a network of dynastic alliances that had political, social, and cultural consequences for decades. To fully appreciate how Princess Alice shaped European royalty, it is essential to examine her extended family and their marriages, tracing the ripple effect of her lineage across continents. Elizabeth of Hesse and by Rhine. The tragic Romanov connection. Princess Alice's second daughter, Elizabeth of Hesse, often called Elizabeth, was born in 1864 in Darmstadt. Elizabeth was known for her devout faith and compassion, traits she inherited from her mother. In 1884, she married Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich of Russia, a prominent member of the Romanov dynasty. Life in Russia. Elizabeth's life in Russia was marked by grandeur, duty, and eventual tragedy. She became deeply involved in charitable works, founding hospitals and nursing initiatives, echoing Princess Alice's humanitarian principles. Her life, however, was shadowed by the political instability of late imperial Russia, the Romanovs, and political tension. As tensions mounted leading to the 1917 Russian Revolution, Elizabeth's family became increasingly vulnerable. Personal tragedy. Her husband, Grand Duke Sergei, was assassinated in 1905 by a revolutionary, leaving Elizabeth to navigate the court and charitable work alone. Exile and martyrdom. Though she survived the initial upheavals, Elizabeth was eventually executed by the Bolsheviks in 1918, alongside other Romanov relatives, highlighting the dangers inherent in royal prominence. Elizabeth's tragic life demonstrated the vulnerabilities faced by European royalty in a changing political landscape. Though she did not directly connect to Prince Philip, her example of courage, faith, and service reflects the enduring influence of Princess Alice's values across generations. Irene of Hesse and by Rhine. The German-Prussian alliance, Princess Alice's third daughter, Irene of Hesse, married Prince Henry of Prussia, the younger brother of Kaiser Wilhelm II. This marriage further intertwined the House of Hesse with the German imperial family, solidifying political and dynastic ties. Life in Germany. Irene's life was relatively stable compared to her sisters in Russia. She supported charitable initiatives and fulfilled her dynastic responsibilities. Children and legacy. Irene's descendants maintained strong connections to European nobility, though their influence was more localized within Germany. Diplomatic significance. Through this marriage, Princess Alice's lineage contributed to a network linking Britain, Germany, and continental Europe, reinforcing her role as a linchpin of dynastic diplomacy. Ernest Louis, Grand Duke of Hesse. The male line Princess Alice's only surviving son, Ernest Louis, inherited the Grand Duchy of Hesse and Bayreuth. Born in 1868, Ernest Louis married Princess Victoria Melita of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, his first cousin, in a union arranged to maintain dynastic cohesion within the German princely houses. Challenges of marriage. The marriage was turbulent and eventually ended in divorce. Despite these personal struggles, Ernest Louis maintained his political and ceremonial duties as Grand Duke. Descendants, Ernest Louis's children, continued the Hesse lineage, though most connections to modern royalty were through collateral lines rather than direct links to the British monarchy. To fully impact. Through Ernest Louis, Princess Alice's influence persisted in Hesse, illustrating the importance of male heirs in maintaining dynastic continuity. Alex of Hesse, Alexandra Feodorovna. The Russian tragedy Princess Alice's youngest daughter, Alex of Hesse, is perhaps the most famous of her children due to her marriage to Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. Alex, known posthumously as Empress Alexandra Feodorovna, carried forward her mother's and grandmother's values, but her life was marked by political intrigue and personal tragedy. Marriage and rule. Alex married Nicholas II in 1894, becoming Empress of Russia. Her marriage was politically significant, strengthening ties between Germany, Britain, and Russia. However, her influence in Russian politics, particularly her reliance on the mystic Rasputin, contributed to controversy. Tragedy and martyrdom. Alex and Nicholas were executed by the Bolsheviks in 1918, along with their 5 children. This tragic end reflected the precarious position of European royalty in the 20th century. Despite the political turmoil, Alex's devotion to family and her moral compass mirrored Princess Alice's enduring legacy of resilience and duty. The descendants of Princess Alice. Connecting to Prince Philip, while Alex, Elizabeth, and Irene's lines were significant in European politics, the most direct connection to Prince Philip comes through Victoria of Hesse and Alice of Battenberg. However, the broader family network demonstrates several key themes. Interconnected dynasties. Princess Alice's children married into almost every major royal house in Europe: Germany, Russia, Greece, Denmark, and Sweden, creating an intricate web of kinship. Political alliances. These marriages often had immediate political implications, from strengthening ties to Britain to creating influence in Germany and Russia. Cultural legacy. The values of Princess Alice, compassion, duty, resilience, and moral courage, were transmitted across all her children, shaping the ethos of European royalty. Foundation for modern kinship. Through Alice of Battenberg, these values reached Prince Philip, who carried them into the British monarchy, and influenced his family's approach to duty, service, and public life. Summary. The web of kinship Princess Alice's descendants illustrate the remarkable interconnectedness of European royalty. From tragic figures like Elizabeth of Hesse and Alex of Hesse to influential figures like Alice of Battenberg and Louis Mountbatten, her children spread across Europe, leaving indelible marks on history. The dynastic web created by Princess Alice ensured that her values and bloodline persisted across generations, culminating in Prince Philip, whose life exemplified courage, resilience, and dedication to service, hallmarks of his great-grandmother's legacy. Princess Alice's legacy extends far beyond her own immediate family. Through the marriages of her children and grandchildren, she created a vast, interconnected web of European royalty, a network that influenced politics, diplomacy, and culture across the continent. To fully appreciate her historical significance, it is essential to trace these connections, explore the dynastic strategies behind them, and analyze how they culminated in the modern British monarchy through Prince Philip. The strategic marriages of Princess Alice's children, the marriages of Princess Alice's 7 children, were carefully orchestrated to strengthen political alliances, consolidate influence, and secure the future of European royalty. These unions created a complex matrix of kinship that intertwined the fates of multiple nations. 1. Victoria of Hesse and by Rhine. The Battenberg alliance, as discussed in Part 3. Princess Alice's eldest daughter, Victoria, married Prince Louis of Battenberg, producing children who would have profound influence on British and European royalty. Their offspring illustrate the strategic and far-reaching nature of Alice's dynastic planning. Alice of Battenberg, mother of Prince Philip, embodying the values of Princess Alice and linking Hesse to Greece and Denmark. Louis Mountbatten became a key figure in British history, serving as naval officer, governor, and political advisor, influencing global events such as India's independence. Louise of Battenberg married King Gustav VI Adolf of Sweden, cementing Hesse-Battenberg influence in Scandinavia. George of Battenberg, though less historically prominent, he maintained noble alliances through marriage. Through Victoria of Hesse, Princess Alice's bloodline extended into Britain, Greece, Denmark, and Sweden, creating a dynastic network that would endure into the 20th century. 2. Elizabeth of Hesse. The Russian connection. Elizabeth of Hesse married Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich of Russia, linking the Hesse family directly to the Romanovs. This marriage was emblematic of the interconnectedness of European monarchies, designed to maintain balance among major powers. Dynastic significance. Elizabeth's marriage strengthened ties between Germany and Russia, reflecting Princess Alice's strategy of marrying her children into powerful royal houses. Tragic fate. Elizabeth was murdered in 1918 during the Bolshevik Revolution, highlighting the fragility of dynastic alliances in times of political upheaval. Legacy. Her commitment to humanitarian work reflected the enduring influence of Princess Alice's values across generations, inspiring later royal family members to pursue charitable causes. 3. Irene of Hesse. Prussia and German alliances. Irene of Hesse married Prince Henry of Prussia, cementing the Hesse family's ties to the German Empire. Their descendants remained largely influential within German nobility. Political role. While Irene's descendants did not rule directly, they maintained dynastic influence, illustrating Princess Alice's strategic foresight in linking Hesse with major European powers. Cultural influence. Through her marriage, Irene contributed to the integration of British and German royal customs, reflecting the blending of dynastic traditions initiated by Princess Alice. 4. Ernest Louis, Grand Duke of Hesse. The male line continuity. Ernest Louis inherited the Grand Duchy of Hesse, continuing the male lineage. He married Princess Victoria Melita of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, his cousin. reinforcing dynastic ties within Germany. Political implications. Ernest Louis's rule maintained stability within Hesse during a period of growing German nationalism and industrialization. Challenges. Despite personal difficulties, Ernest Louis upheld the Hesse line, ensuring Princess Alice's legacy persisted through multiple generations of European nobility. Chistile 5. Alex of Hesse. Alexandra Fyodorovna. Russia and imperial tragedy. Alex married Tsar Nicholas II, linking Hesse to one of the most powerful empires in Europe. Dynastic importance. This union exemplified the strategic marriages Princess Alice orchestrated, connecting Britain, Germany, and Russia. Tragic outcome. Alex and Nicholas were executed in 1918, demonstrating the vulnerability of royal houses in times of political revolution. Legacy. Despite the tragedy, Alex's moral and familial dedication mirrored Princess Alice's principles, leaving a lasting impression on European royal culture. The Battenberg branch. The direct line to Prince Philip, while several of Princess Alice's descendants wielded political influence across Europe. The most direct path to Prince Philip comes through Alice of Battenberg, daughter of Victoria of Hesse. Marriage to Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark linked British, Greek, and Danish royalty. Children produced Prince Philip, who carried Princess Alice's bloodline into the modern British monarchy. Values transmitted. Compassion, duty, moral courage, and adaptability, traits honed by Princess Alice in Hesse, manifested in Philip's personality and public service. Through this branch, Princess Alice's legacy continued uninterrupted, culminating in one of the most prominent royal figures of the 20th century. Princess Alice's influence beyond bloodlines, beyond direct descendants. Princess Alice's kinship network shaped European royalty in several ways. Diplomatic connectivity. Marriages across Britain, Germany, Russia, Greece, Denmark, and Sweden created a web of alliances that facilitated diplomacy and political cooperation. Cultural exchange. Her descendants blended customs, languages, and traditions, promoting cross-cultural understanding among European monarchies. Crisis management. Multiple descendants faced revolutions, exile, and war, demonstrating resilience and adaptability, qualities instilled by Princess Alice. Philanthropy and public service. Charitable work became a hallmark of Alice's lineage. From her own nursing during epidemics to Alice of Battenberg's sheltering of Jews during World War II, and Prince Philip's decades of service to charitable organizations. Mapping the kinship. Europe as a royal network, visualizing Princess Alice's descendants as a network, reveals the extent of her influence. Britain, through Alice of Battenberg and Prince Philip, her lineage merged into the House of Windsor. Greece and Denmark. Philip's paternal and maternal ancestry ensured links to these monarchies. Germany. Victoria's marriages solidified German connections. Russia. Elizabeth and Alex linked Hesse to the Romanovs. Sweden. Louise of Battenberg married into the Swedish royal family, extending Alice's influence into Scandinavia. This interconnected network ensured that Princess Alice's bloodline and values permeated multiple royal houses, reinforcing the concept of dynastic strategy across generations. Princess Alice's legacy in the modern monarchy through Prince Philip. Princess Alice's influence entered the British monarchy in a profound way. Service-oriented ethos. Philip's decades-long dedication to the crown and his charitable work reflected Princess Alice's values. Resilience and adaptability. Philip navigated personal and public challenges with the resilience inherited from his great-grandmother. Dynastic continuity. Through Philip and Queen Elizabeth II, Princess Alice's lineage continues to shape the British royal family and its role in modern society. Princess Alice's legacy thus represents a bridge between Victorian Europe and the contemporary monarchy, linking historical ideals to modern royal practices.